And we are live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Jason Hebert Live. It's our first show back in quite a while. I think I did one within this year, so it's basically been about a year. I do apologize. My camera just completely is on the fritz. I can't get it going for the life of me. I'm not a very good technical person at fixing these issues either. So I'm kind of stuck here. I've been running around for the last 25 minutes, screaming around my house trying to fix it. And it doesn't look like it's going to happen. So I do apologize. We do, however, have our guest who will be on camera in just a moment. And that's what's important. If you're not familiar with our channel, what we do is interview the family of either unsolved homicides or missing persons in an attempt to help spread the word, bring them home, get the cases solved, things along those lines. I'm going to give it just a moment to try to let some people get in here. I don't know how many people we're going to have live because this is, like I said, this is my first show back in quite a while. So I don't think a lot of people even know that we're back. So it might take a little bit to build that back up. But the important thing is that we get the information out there. So thank you to everyone for joining us. Can someone just confirm with me that you guys can hear me? It looks like my mic is working. Hello to everyone. We got Cat Lover, Kelly, Chris, both Chris's. Got a lot of our regulars here from before. Hey, Clyde. I am really back, my friend. Okay, looks like we're at about 25 people. Hey, Angie. So let's give it just a moment for a few more to come in. Before we bring our guest on, I'm just going to read you guys a quick little intro. She has done some shows before, so I want to try to walk the line between giving you some basic info on the case, of course, but not just repeating, a show that you can watch elsewhere. So we're going to, in the second half, we're going to try to get into any updates or new info that might have come along since she did some previous shows. So tonight's guest is Erin Knabel. Her sister, Andrea Knabel, is missing. Andrea is a mother of two, and she volunteered looking for missing people in her free time before going missing herself on August 13th, 2019 from Louisville, Kentucky. Andrea's little sister, Erin, and their father, Mike, have spent every day and many nights since this date looking for her. Due to the odd twist of events, advocates and volunteers like her feel as though they lost one of their own and are joining in on the search. Volunteers are reaching out from around the world, but not all have had the best intentions. As unfortunately, as many of my regulars know, sometimes people join the case that don't actually have the best, don't have the best intent. Andrea has been featured on local, national, and international news outlets multiple times over these past 3 years, and is currently being featured on the docuseries Finding Andrea on Investigation Discovery. The most touching part of her story is that Andrea has always used her skills and talents to help everyone around her, even when she was having her own struggles. Through everything, the good, bad, and the ugly, Andrea's kind heart always shined the brightest. This will never be forgotten by her family, who is doing all they can to keep Andrea's story alive until she is found. Excuse me. And like I said, we do have Andrea's sister, Erin, on with us tonight. Hi, Erin. How are you today?
I'm okay. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for joining us. And I'm sorry for the technical issues here. It's kind of a recurring issue around these parts.
It's okay.
Yeah. Do you want to start by maybe just going into some of the basics? Tell us a little bit about Andrea in general, and then you can lead us into the day she went missing, and we'll go from there.
Sure, yeah. Andrea is the kind of person, like, I know that people say this a lot about someone who they miss, but she truly did light up a room. Like me, for example, I'm kind of more introverted, where it doesn't come natural, but for Andrea, she would just blurt out whatever was on her mind, and it would always make people laugh, and it kind of, she would be the life of the party anywhere she went, basically. For people like me, she really could always bring out the silly side in me and just always make me feel comfortable in any situation. So she was always a joy to be around. She could make any normal day feel like a party. It was so her presence is greatly missed. It's dramatically changed all of our family get-togethers and just everyday things in my life. She was the person that I would call if somebody made me angry at work, or if I see something funny, she'd be the one that I'd send it to. So she was really like my go-to person on just an everyday basis. The things that she liked to do is she liked to do, like when she was at home with her kids, like renovations. She'd like to liked fixing up her house. She enjoyed gardening with me. She liked doing fun activities with the kids. Like we would take them to parks and take them hiking together. Growing up, she was always a really great big sister. Her nickname was Mother Andrea because she would always kind of look out for us and, don't do this, you might get hurt. Or she'd play like fun pranks on us that would make us laugh. Just we have a lot of great memories from Andrea. So it's really hard. Like when someone makes such a huge impact on your life like that, you can't just go on like everything's okay and do nothing about it. I feel like um, what I can do right now with her not being here is just do something about it to fix the problem. That's the closest thing I have right now to being with her.
Right. Yeah, I've seen that you and your dad, I believe, Mike, right, have done a few
Yeah.
shows and obviously some searches, things like that.
Yeah. Dad and I basically are like a team. Um, he handles a lot of the news channels more. He talks to the police. I usually handle more of the social media side, and he does join me for some of these interviews, but it's mainly something I'm taking on as far as that goes.
Absolutely. And if he does happen to be watching at any time, if he wanted to join, of course, he's always welcome to.
Thank you. He's
Um,
actually feeling sick today. He babysat for me, and my youngest son was sick, and I think he caught what my son had. So
okay. Well, Mike, we wish you well, and we're going
thank
to do
you.
everything we can to help find her and spread the word, if nothing else. So, what exactly was going on in her life? Are there any directions you guys are leading as to what may have happened? Do you want to kind of go into the specifics of that day?
Yeah. So the day that I saw Andrea, um, just coincidentally, it happened to be a day that I was kind of unplugging. I'm 37 years old now, so I was an adult before people were attached to their cell phones. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
I know.
it's
Me too.
yeah. So it's normal for me to sometimes just be like, I'm tired of this. I'm not, living for my cell phone. I need to put it away and just enjoy the people around me. My thoughts were like, my kids are here. My friend's gonna come over and hang out with me. I just sat my phone down on the kitchen table and left it there for a few hours because it'd been a long day at work and I just needed to relax. And so I missed a lot of when I finally did look at my phone. I had a lot of missed calls for Andrea. Um, but I guess what I'll start with as far as the last day she was with us, I'll start with the accounts like what people have told me. So what I've learned through talking to my family members and Andrea that night is that she was eating dinner at my mom's house. She had been staying with my mom because she was having a lot of problems during this time period, unfortunately. She had been evicted from her home. She one car was wrecked, and then she bought a new car that broke down. She a couple of years before this, she had been laid off from her job, and she had been working odd jobs. I think it got to the point where it just wasn't enough. She lost two roommates, and that's how I think she ended up getting evicted. Um, so she was at my mom's house. We helped her move in there. It was a lot. It was a lot of stuff. We moved quickly, and she was applying for jobs, but she was sleeping a lot during the daytime, and like we could tell that she was making progress, but she was also kind of sabotaging her efforts. And so we were really worried about her. We were worried that maybe she was having, like a mental health issue, which if she was, it was okay. We wanted to do whatever we could to help her get through that. So we were kind of in the thick of it. Once she was moved in with my mom, you can always see more about what's going on in, your loved one's life when they're there living with you. So we realized like how much she really needed us. And so my mom was going to doctor's appointments with her and things like that. Um, my dad thought, because we were worried that like what if it could be a drug problem. So my dad offered her rehab, but she denied it and said no. Um, so anyways, I think what happened on this particular night is that she was eating dinner. She was eating Chinese food at my mom's house. My other sister, Sarah, my little sister, had came over to do construction work on my mom's house. So Sarah and her fiance Ethan have a construction business. They live in Lexington. They came to Louisville to temporarily live at my mom's house while they did renovations. And the plan was, fix up the bathrooms and then go back home. So anyways, they were all there together. My mom had bought Chinese food, and I think that my mom was kind of having a hard conversation with her about how she needed to make different choices. They were talking about how she needed to see a doctor, and how I think that my mom was kind of laying into her a little bit. She had been kind of tiptoeing around it leading up to now, and I think it was just really wearing on her and getting really hard because it seemed like there were constant problems, really. So this upset Andrea, and I think Andrea kind of lashed out back at her, which, I mean, that can be a pretty normal thing. It's normal when you're already having a hard time to be a little bit sensitive when someone wants to talk to you about that. So in my opinion, really, like, no one was wrong in this situation. It was just a tough family situation that we all go through when we love somebody. So they argued. My little sister joined in and said that she agreed with my mother. Then my mom ended up, I guess Andrea got upset and went upstairs. She felt like she was being teamed up on. So my mom left, and then Andrea came back down a little bit later and said she wanted to go to the hospital to get her face looked at because she was also having skin problems. So a lot of the time she would go on to doctor's appointments and get skin medication, but it wasn't getting better. That was the thing. Like, that was another issue that we were wanting to help her with. But anyways, so she wanted to go right then and there. The talk that they had was that she needs to see a psychiatrist, but she was like, well, this is the doctor I want to see, and I want to go right now. So Ethan, my little sister's boyfriend, took her to the hospital, dropped her off. I think they got McDonald's on the way. Afterwards, the plan was for her to get an Uber home, and the card did not work. So she complained to me about how, like, she was upset that
I apologize for interrupting, just to make sure I understand. So she was at your mom's, you guys went to the hospital, and then you got food. She was going to take an Uber, so she was by herself at that point. She had
the plan, right. Yeah. So the plan was, so that Ethan didn't have to wait at the hospital for her to get seen and everything, was for her to use an Uber gift card to get home. So I guess my mom had an Uber gift card. So anyways, for some reason that didn't work, and she had to use her own money. So she Ubered to my mom's house, and by this time it was about 11:30 at night. She couldn't get in. Obviously, this was upsetting to her. It was upsetting to me. So she walked to my house, and remember, my phone had been sitting on the kitchen table the entire time. If I would have known she needed me, I would have gone straight there and picked her up and everything. So anyways, I was sitting on my front porch with my best friend, Michelle. My kids were inside sleeping, and we were just having a glass of wine and talking. That was, just the way I was just kind of unwinding. And she walks up, and when she sees me, it's kind of like, that feeling you get when you're really stressed out and you're holding it in, and you see the person that you love that, you've been waiting to talk to, and you kind of just let it all out. Like, you just can kind of see, like, the weight lifting off to her shoulders as she's letting it all out and venting to me. And the thing about Andrea is that, remember how I was saying she's like she just says whatever she's thinking. She's very charismatic. She's the kind of person that, if she's really happy, she can make everyone around her happy. But the same is true if she's really sad. She's very expressive. She can be very loud and make everyone around her very sad just as easily. Anyways, so she was kind of just venting and telling me what was going on. She was very, very upset. She was kind of being loud about it, but I wouldn't say like in an uncontrolled way. She was just very expressive, the same way that I've always known her to be. So after, my thoughts were, she's already had a lot of people tell her a lot of hard things tonight. I felt like the best thing for me to do, being her sister, is just to listen. So that's what I did. I let her get it all out. And then I told her maybe she could go inside and kind of cool off. Then she went upstairs and washed her face. And my thoughts were like, it would be a good idea for her to go in and cool off but it would also be a way to kind of make it quieter around my house because I had just finished recovering from a divorce and I had just newly moved into my townhome. So you know how it is when you don't know your neighbors very well. You don't want to shake things up or have any kind of problems. So I was
Right.
feeling kind of nervous about that. She went inside, washed her face, and she sat on the floor and watched TV because my kids were actually sleeping on the couch. There were some renovations actually being done to my upstairs because this place it's kind of a fixer-upper. So anyways, at that point, I was outside talking on the phone. My friend Michelle was still there, but she was kind of just hanging out while I was calling my parents and asking them advice. I was like, what's going on? How come she can't get into her own home? It was just, I was feeling very exasperated by it because like it just doesn't really make sense to me. But later I found out that the reason they had changed the locks because of she was kind of hanging around a rough crowd and bringing them around my mom's house. And I think that they were kind of wanting to, I mean, obviously you don't want to have anything bad happen in your home or have anything stolen, stuff like that. So they changed the locks. And since she was barely leaving the house, so I guess it was worked out to where Sarah and Ethan were letting her in whenever she needed to come and go.
Yeah.
I don't know why they didn't let her in. They knew that she was gone and that she was coming back. But I was telling Mom, like, you told her she could live there, so you need to make sure she can get in. I feel bad saying this now. Like, it's really hard because to me, it was just a normal night. Like, you never think that you're just never going to see your sister again. Like, it's still hard for me to accept that this has happened, really. But anyways, my thoughts that night were, it's getting later. I have to work in the morning. And if it was just Andrea at my house, I would trust her to live there forever. Like I wouldn't care about rent or anything or food or anything like that. Like she could have anything I have, I would give to her. But what I was really worried about is just the people that were coming around my mom's house. I was worried about those people coming around here. And like this is all I had for my family, you know what I mean? And I'd just gotten it. So I was just feeling I was worried about that and wanting peace at my house for my kids. So I was kind of saying like you need to make sure she gets in the house. And so my friend Michelle stayed with my kids and I drove Andrea back to my mom's house and uh we we usually use the back door, so she went around towards the back door and I pulled out of the driveway and went home. So came home, my friend Michelle left and went back to her house and I laid down on the couch and went to sleep and some time passed, I guess, and then there was knocking at my door. Well, Andrea was back and she was saying that she still couldn't get in. So at this point, like I felt terrible. Like this is like the worst thing. Like I didn't use my back door for probably at least a year after this happened just because of how terrible it was. But I just told her like, I'm sorry, Andrea, please just go back. I promise I'll call and make sure you can get in because I mean it just didn't make any sense to me. Like we always our whole lives we look out for each other. So I thought for sure that she could get back in. And I know that like other times when they had arguments and stuff, it would be normal for her to go sleep in her car. So my thoughts were the worst that could happen is maybe she sleeps in her car because she had done that like by choice previously. So we also like we make up really easily. Like we don't hold grudges in my family. So I assumed that, you know, by the time she got back, like things would be cooled off. I thought Mom would make sure she got in and that would be the end of it. And I thought the worst that would happen is she might be kind of angry with me, you know, for a day or two.
Right.
So then the next day I went to work just like a normal day. I would say around like 9:30 or 10, my mom texted me. It was me, Sarah, and Andrea and her in a group text asking if any of us had talked to Andrea. And I said, no, I haven't talked to her. And then to me at that point, my thoughts were, I'm sure she's at Amber's house. That's her best friend. They were roommates before Andrea, had been evicted. So Andrea would still kind of go over to Amber's new house just to kind of cool off and get away. Because I mean, let's face it, for any mother, it's hard to move in with your own mother. You know, it's not easy for two adults to live together in that situation. So,
Right.
um, I know when I was going through my divorce, it was not ideal. You know, I was working as much as I could until I could get out of there. So Andrea would go cool off at her friend's house every now and then, or she would come to my house. So my thinking was, I'm sure she's probably still asleep because it would be normal for her to sleep in every day. That was one of the issues that was going on with her at the time.
It
So
was
I
that.
thought,
Just real quick, I'm sorry. You
you're
don't
good.
have to talk about anything you don't want to. The
Mhm.
sleeping, was that because of the experiment thing she had started doing? Was that a new thing?
I would say within the past maybe year and a half or so is how long the different behavior was going on, because before that point Andrea was always very motivated. It would be
Mm,
normal for her to have two or three jobs, and even when she was in college, you know, at U of L, she had multiple jobs while she was going to school. So yeah, it was a complete turnaround, a complete turn in her life.
yeah, it just kind of
And
completely changes someone's behavior. So
yeah,
that
it
was
was just
it
a
was about a
dramatic.
year and a half from when she started experimenting, sleeping a
Yeah.
lot. Did she also? I know your dad had said, and you kind of alluded to it too, that she had a tendency to kind of take everybody in, good or bad influences. Um,
Yeah.
so had she had a new crowd because of that year and a half of her different behavior? Did a new crowd start to come around?
Around that time, she began dating Brian Downey, who was someone that she's known since we were kids. He used to even like cut my mom's grass when we were kids. And he was just someone that we kind of grew up around. So he was known to have a meth habit, like he used hard drugs. So when I when I was around, Andrea would talk about like, I can't believe he does that, and
And
I'm
I just
trying.
want to say real quick, not to interrupt again, I'm sorry, but anything
Okay.
said about anyone on the show, whether by myself or the guest, everything is alleged. We're not accusing anyone of anything. It's just, families trying to figure out what's going on, guys. So nothing is, everything is alleged. I just want to make sure just to protect us, that we say that, Erin.
Yeah. So like everything I saw was like Andrea was trying to help him. She did not approve of his behavior. I never saw her using drugs, but she was hanging around a sketchy crowd, and we know that she had a prescription of Adderall. So it's also been speculated that maybe she was abusing Adderall because they actually have the same side effects, you know, the same symptoms. So we didn't
Yeah.
know exactly what was happening. It's been said by people that she was on drugs, um, but we also think that it's possible that it was depression because, you know, in my opinion, she was in a situation where it would cause depression. So we were trying to figure it out. It did seem like it was pretty plausible that it could have been drugs, but it could have just as well been mental health issues. So we weren't positive on that. But yes, you're right. She's always had a very big heart. Um, I feel like I took after her, and I have that in me a lot. I really care about helping people, but I learned like you have to put up a wall. If you don't, you're going to hurt yourself. And I was just trying to instill that in Andrea and talk to her as much as I could, because I did feel like her big heart, it was attracting people that take advantage of those people. So
Yeah.
that was just heartbreaking to see her caring about people that didn't care about her. And I was really, that night I was just worried about being caught up in that. This is like my safe haven for my children and my family, and I felt like I needed to love Andrea, but with boundaries in place. And I had been we all had been doing everything we could for her leading up to this, and we were doing it to the point where it was hurting us. Like, for example, I would let her use my car. She would tell me she needed it to go to the grocery, and I knew that she was she was likely doing other stuff. But it's so hard to see someone that you love upset like that. So I would help her, and she would be gone for literally 10 hours on like a Thursday night.
Yeah,
So
I've had friends and family, same thing. They borrow your car and they're gone forever. So I know exactly how
yeah.
that is. So she leaves your house. You assume she's going home to your mom's. She never makes it there. So you call her best friend. She hasn't seen her. What's the situation with her car? Do you have access to her phone? Where do we stand with the things that we could help track her?
The phone's never been found. We did give the police her laptop, which was, they told me it was signed into all her accounts. So they were able to track her whereabouts that night using Google Dashboard. So it showed that her or her phone, obviously I wasn't there, so we don't know, made it back to mom's house. And then we kind of have a conflicting, we have one side saying that her phone was at mom's until 6:30 in the morning, and then it was never, obviously never found after that. And then we have our private investigator is saying that he, in a menu, he clicked down and saw more information that showed she was only at my mother's house till for about 10 minutes. So from like 2 to about 2:10, and then she left and went somewhere nearby for a few hours before her phone turned
Two
off.
a.m. to 2:10 a.m.
Yeah.
And you said
So
there are two sides. That those are both law enforcement sides. Who's saying what?
So LMPD, Missing Persons Unit, they think, them and their tech team think that the phone was at mom's house until 6:30 in the morning.
Okay.
So yeah, that would be the actual police. And then our private investigator who's been helping us from the beginning, he volunteers. He said that he, like, this was, let me think, probably December 2021. Started over from the beginning, as many people do when you don't have answers. And he was watching videos because I had given him Andrea's laptop at first when she first went missing, because I felt like the police were not acting enough. I mean, when you're missing someone that you love, it's like the equivalent of having your house is burning down around you. Like everything you care about is just crumbling. So to me, like that should render someone like immediate attention. Like,
Yeah.
they should be at my door telling me what I can do. They should be doing whatever they can do. That was not happening. So Tracy was the one, he was our go-to person. He immediately wanted to help. He jumped to action. So he asked for if she had any laptop or any electronics, and I went to my mom's house, got her laptop. Tracy had it for about a week, and then he turned it over to the police when they were, finally asking for it. So Tracy recorded a video of everything he looked at on her computer for reference. So he was looking at his videos, and he found, I guess, a drop down box that he clicked that he didn't realize it was from that date maybe. And it said that she was at mom's house till about 2 in the morning, or no, she got there at 2 in the morning, left at about roughly 2:10, and then she left on foot, and she walked somewhere else in the neighborhood and was there for a few hours before her phone turned off.
Could that be the discrepancy that because she didn't go far, that's why some people think she was there till 2, and the police think 6. Do you know what I'm saying? Because she didn't go that
Yeah,
far.
it is possible that it's maybe they were looking at the Audubon Park, like, and assumed it was mom's house. I'm not exactly positive. I'd have
Yeah.
to look at it myself. I get, maybe I need to log onto a laptop and look at my own Google dashboard and see how it's laid out. But yes, that is possible that maybe because it was so close by.
Where did she go close to your mom's house? Was it like a pond to hang out? Was it a house?
It was a house.
And
And
whose house is that?
I don't think we're supposed to say that yet, just because it's still, an active
Okay.
investigation.
Okay.
Um, but oddly enough, like growing up, it was one of our, how like when you're kids, you talk about pretty things that you like. It was a house that we all really loved growing up. It was like our favorite house that we would talk about. But anyways, um,
Hmm.
so we had a large scale cadaver dog search just because it's a terrible thought, thinking that your loved one could be deceased in a location. You can't get it out of your mind anytime you go past those places. So our thinking, what we were hoping to accomplish with the cadaver search, is to roll out those possibilities so that we could finally, once and for all, clear different areas and move on to the next circumstances. So we did that earlier in the summer. I suggested that we start the search for where she was last known to be. So we searched all the wooded areas, and I even asked if they could include my home and my mom's home in the search, just because there's so many people that speculate and accuse and point fingers. We wanted to lay that to rest because it just takes about 5 or 10 minutes to search houses. So of course the cadaver dogs cleared both of our houses. Nothing was found. So there's a consent form that has to be signed by anybody if it's a residential, if it's privately owned. Basically, there has to be consent. So we asked the owner of this particular house to sign a waiver. It had the specific dates that we would need it, that we would be there. It was just one day. This would just be a first responder who was volunteering with their own dog, and it would be a 5 to 10 minute walk through the house without touching anything. And they said, come back a little bit later and we'll let you know our answer. So we decided to search other areas, and our plan was to come back to that. While we were out searching for other areas, they came down to the fire department, which was like where our meetup place, where we had the tracking, the laptops with like the tracking software on it and things like that. And they sent a police officer down there to tell us that we cannot search there, and we have to have the FBI present if we want to search that property.
Really?
So yeah, we're not able to search that area.
So the last known place, at least according to the private investigator, that she was, is the place that is not letting you search. And I know you can't, don't say anything that, you can't. I don't feel pressure to. So if I ask a question and you don't know if you should answer it, then don't feel like you have to. But okay. I know you said it was a house that you guys always did, but I have a house like that in my neighborhood. Actually, we drove by it. Everyone always thought it was really nice. Did you know the owner of that house also, or
no?
Why would she have went there, just to look at the house, do you think?
It's possible. We learned that it's like a rental property, so I don't know. I would say Andrea is like a very friendly person, so I could easily see her walking down the street, and maybe like, what if there's like a group of people hanging out outside? I could see her striking up a conversation with them. Like, that's just something, like, when you hear this information, your brain immediately starts running through all the possible scenarios. And that's one thing that Dad and I have thought about. Another situation that Dad brought up is that he asked what day trash day was. He used to live in Audubon Park, and he was pretty sure that thank you, Shammy. Sorry, I just saw a comment. He was pretty.
I put him on screen. You can stop and comment if you'd like. Don't worry.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, it makes me happy to hear people say nice things about her, because she's very important to me. So thank you for saying that. So Dad said he thinks that garbage day is very early Tuesday morning. So that means that people would have put their trash cans out Monday night. So there would have been trash cans on at the end of every house. So, you prepare for, nobody gets up at 5 a.m. to take their trash out. You do it the night before. So his thoughts were, what if somebody saw her and like picked her up, or maybe even hurt her, did something like that, and took her phone and threw it in a trash can right there, and it sat there until it died. So that's a possibility. And we've wondered if there's a way to know if the phone was like moving around at that location, or if it just sat still the whole time, so that you could maybe see if a person was with it or not. And I was told that a cell phone tower dump is a way that you can tell that, and you can also tell what other phones were active during that time in that area. I think my dad spoke with the detectives, and they said they did all that stuff, but I don't know. It's just, we've had different detectives come and go through all of this, and then also there's been a lot of cutbacks as far as like who's, like, I think we started off with 4 detectives in the department, and now we're just down to 1 total for all of Louisville in the missing persons unit. And they also merged with homicide, so they're just severely short-staffed. So it's possible that they did do all that, but it's changed hands so many times that we're not positive the guy who's currently on it is even up to date, which is, it's a terrible feeling. It makes me feel that if anything's going to get done, it needs to be done by Dad and I. So that's another reason why we're very, very active, because we can't just wait and not even knowing if someone's doing anything about it.
That's one thing I've learned doing this is it's a shame how often police either aren't up to date or that they're not focusing on something or they don't know details even the general public knows. It's really
Right.
kind of scary actually. So so if I understand, her car is left at your mom's house and she walks to this other house. So you know where the car is, but you don't have the phone, you said, right?
Right. Yeah,
Okay.
her car had been broken down, so she would sleep in the car even though it was broken down.
Okay.
It was just sitting in Mom's driveway. She was actually looking up, we know from her laptop that she had been looking up parts and talking to her friends. She had a couple friends who fix cars for a living, so she would talk to them about them coming and fixing it. And yeah, everything from her actions, it showed that she was very busy doing what she could to fix her situation. And that's the Andrea that I know. Even though she was having problems, I could still see that she was actively doing what she could to get back on track. That's one thing that I've always really admired about her. And my opinion is that if she was still here right now, she'd be back on her feet and the person that I've always looked up to. She'd be back to looking for missing people and being an amazing mother. So what I feel like is whatever happened, if another person is involved in this, I feel like they stole that from her, and it's just, I realize it's important to talk about what was happening during that time period and to talk about her problems, but it's really hard to talk about someone that you love so much and someone you've admired all your life, and just to see them being known as a person that has problems and just to be known as someone who's missing. But she's actually, I just want people to know she's a lot more than that, and she's an amazing funny person that, like, things happen almost every day that still remind me of her. She still makes me laugh even though she's not here, and usually after that, um, tears come, and I just hope that either we get her back and she's okay, or we can one day get her justice. And I hope if she's not coming back that one day I can only look back on memories and just be happy instead of just being so devastated by it. I know it's normal to lose people when you get older, but it was never supposed to be Andrea. We were planning on being like crazy old ladies together is what we used to
Yeah,
say.
I mean, not this age, and definitely not like this.
Yeah, and we planned on basically raising our grandkids together because our kids were already growing up together with us being together almost every day. And our plan was, to babysit and be with our grandkids just as much, and just all of us being together.
Well, hopefully, like you said, over the last year and a half, things have begun to change a little in certain ways. Hopefully, so she just maybe went down the wrong path or something, and hopefully things end up working out to where, like you say, she does come home. And I mean, who knows? Sometimes it's the craziest explanation to these things, and they do have happy endings. So
I really hope
that's
so.
what we're
Yes.
gonna pray happens.
Yeah, we've had a lot of crazy things happen recently. Like with us being so active, it creates just different, really unusual circumstances that I feel most people can't really relate to, or you don't even think about it happening until you hear about it. Um, let's see. Kaleidoscope said she sounds wonderful. We all struggle sometimes, and she deserves to get to the other side of that, like we all have. I agree completely. And I mean, I myself, I was struggling a lot when I went through a divorce. I was a stay-at-home mom, so I had to start completely over from scratch. So just think, if I would have gone missing at that point, that's what I would have been known for, was my hardest times. So,
Yeah,
and right now,
nobody should be known for their worst mistakes or whatever. Because if that's the case, then we all are.
yeah,
We're all.
exactly. And she's someone that I've always looked up to, and I don't really care whatever her problems were, that she's still that person for me, and she always will be. Um, but let's see. So some of the things that have happened recently. So we have Andrea's Angels. It's a volunteer group that Dad and I came up with so that people, all these people that are wanting to help us, we wanted to give them ways, options for how they can help us. So we have a volunteer group called Andrea's Angels that they help us brainstorm ideas, or if they see something that can be useful to me, they share that information with me. So I've signed up for numerous organizations just asking for people to help us in any way they can. And we found one organization that would pay for private investigators. So we had 2 private investigators assigned to us. They checked it out for maybe 2 weeks and investigated it to the best of their ability. And they ended up signing something stating that they would take on this case. Well, they ended up meeting with Dad and I prepared a lot for this. I wrote out I typed out 5 pages of notes of what I thought could have happened and what I felt like they could do to rule it out or disprove it, or just leave it open for their ideas. And I listed it from what I thought was most likely to the least likely situations, or the ones with the least information. And we went over all of that with them. 2 days later, they just quit. They just dropped it all.
Did they give you a reason why, or
they said they felt like the police were doing what they could, and they felt like they would just get in the way. They said they talked to the police and they did their own research. And these people were former police. They weren't just random people out there. So, it's heartbreaking. It feels like when you get your hopes up that much, like, oh my God, we have these people that have experience that really want to help. Like, they genuinely sounded like they wanted to do something and they were motivated. This was big. It was groundbreaking for us. And just to have that pulled out from underneath us, it makes you feel like you're losing her all over again. It's just a terrible, traumatizing to have someone do that to you over and over again. And it's happened so many times now. The advice Dad gives me anytime we get a good lead where we think she could be okay, or any situation that gives you a lot of hope, he's taught me to try my best just to stay level. Don't get too excited or too happy, just because it's so much more crushing when it all comes falling down and it's not turning out how we need it to turn out.
Yeah.
So there's just so many ups and downs and constant chaos. So I just have to try with everything in me to hold it in, and it's tough.
I'm just kind of going over the events in my head, because obviously that's my main focus, is wanting to get to the bottom of it. And seems like she stayed within that neighborhood from everything we can see. Did you say, I know you said families often don't know everything that the police know because they can't share with them, or often they just won't. But did you say they have been, I know they don't have her phone, but were they able to gain access into her text message and calls and all that? I know you said that they saw pings and stuff, but did they know who she was talking to?
Yeah, so her laptop was signed into all her social media. So I was certain that they would find her within days just based on her social media, because I know Andrea's preferred way of talking was through Facebook Messenger. That's how we basically always communicated. And nothing came of it. They said that there was nothing useful on it. And I just find that really, really odd. It doesn't really make any sense to me.
There's nothing on it at all, they said?
Yeah, so no social media. They checked all the messages on all her social media, didn't find anything that was relevant to her going missing. So they subpoenaed her phone records. That would be transcripts of her text messages, all her phone calls that were made and received. They told me the same thing, that none of it was relevant, none of it helped. I do know that during an open investigation, police don't have to tell us the truth.
Right.
I've had a lot of them tell me different things, so it's very confusing, and it's a lot. So, but yeah, it's my knowledge that it has not given them any results. And that's something to this day I still don't really understand.
Okay. Yeah. And if they won't tell you, they won't tell you. There's really nothing you can do. You just got to basically take their word for it, unfortunately.
Right.
Kelly Finello asks a question that I actually was about to ask. So she says, I hate to bring this up. Are there any bodies of water by you? If you think she hopped in a car, AWP, Adventures with Purpose, do sonar with a boat. What she's referring to, if you don't know, there's that recent case. It's a big one. Is it Keely Rodney? I think it is. They were involved with that. And I've actually spoken to Jared multiple times by email. He's at least one of the guys that runs Adventures with Purpose. But they specialize and they take on cases like this. If there are any bodies of water in the area, I mean, God forbid, but you want to pursue all avenues, of course. But like, is there a lake nearby that house? Because obviously, I mean, my focus from what you've told me is on that house. And I know you said there's only so many things you can say there, so I don't want to delve too deep.
Yeah.
But,
It's confusing because we don't know for sure if that's where she went or if she was at my mom's house. But I agree with you completely that it's something that sticks out that we have to keep going with really both timelines until we know for sure. There's nothing.
I was going to ask about the water. Sorry.
Yeah. I did watch Adventures with a Purpose, and I wrote to them. They said that they can't take on Andrea's case because we don't have like an idea of where she could possibly be. We don't know if there was a car involved or not, and there's sonar that they use to text cars. It's not sensitive enough to find human remains in the water. And then also, I'm not sure if you all have seen the docuseries, but it brings up a lot of speculation that, in my opinion, it was just there for drama and to get views and make money. But they insinuated a lot of different foul play situations, so that they said for their own safety that they don't take on missing persons cases where foul play is suspected.
I didn't know that. I thought they've done a lot of cases with foul play. Okay, so that's new to me. I didn't know that. What did you say about the sonar though? That it wasn't strong enough to.
It doesn't check for human remains. They use that to find cars.
Oh, right. Yeah, exactly. Okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, but we do have a solution that we're working on right now for that because there's a lot of bodies of water. I wouldn't say like within walking distance, but just in case the worst has happened, I want to help Andrea in that situation as well. Obviously, she deserves to be properly laid to rest, and she deserves justice if that's what happened. So the cadaver dogs, I thought this was really just mind blowing to me. They can search water. They get on a small boat and they can smell or even and taste the scent of human remains in the water. So that's something that, yeah, they're amazing animals. Like it brought tears to my eyes just seeing these innocent little animals, not knowing what amazing things they're doing. They're just wanting to make their owners happy. So they're like little angels is how I feel about these dogs, just for everything they do for missing people and their families. So we are working on a plan for that. We need to search the Ohio River, Beargrass Creek. There's other ones. Oh yeah, the quarry, just different areas. There's other areas too in Louisville that we need to 100% rule out. The last time they came, it was in the middle of summertime, and we were just very concerned about heat exhaustion and the volunteers and the dogs. So we ended up saying that we'll continue this in the fall. So that's coming up here soon, where we'll have them search the water.
And this would actually be a good time. And I'll add to it for anyone. Erin's going to go over some things, and what she's about to go over, you can find it by expanding the description. And you'll see all the links. But Erin, did you want to go over for anyone who wanted to help with any of those searches? Maybe somebody's in the area and either they know something or just they have experience searching, whatever it may be, any way they can help. Do you want to go over any of the groups and the t-shirts and all that stuff? Would you like to discuss that for anyone interested?
Yes, definitely. So we have came up with a lot of different ways that you can help us if you're wanting to take action, which we hope you do. So we have t-shirts. This is an example of one of them. I'm planning on using the GoFundMe money to buy more of these t-shirts so that I can give them away. So if anyone wants to give them away, if anyone wants to take a free t-shirt from me, pretty soon I'll have more that I can distribute. If you're local, I can drop it off to you. If you're far further away, or if you'd prefer to just order one online, you can go to bonfire.com and order a t-shirt. Just either click the link attached to this video or just look up Bonfire Andrea Knabel. We also have a GoFundMe for anybody that wishes to contribute to that. At this time, we have the funds to continue buying posters. Like I have one right here ready to show you guys. So I laminate these posters so that they will last for years. That's the best way to hang them. So I buy the lamination materials. I bought extra laminators so that I could get that done quicker and get them out faster. We also have posters that we can give out to people. I have a digital copy that I can message to you if you're wanting to print one out and hang it at your office or anywhere like that. You can message me, Erin Knabel, on any social media if you're wanting to help out with any of these things. You can also follow my profile.
So Erin, real quick, all of a sudden the audio totally changed and got really echoey and bad. I don't know if it's your end or my end. Does she sound different to you guys all of a sudden, or is that just me? Because she sounded very clear, and all of a sudden I hear a weird echo, and I can hardly hear her. Is that just me, guys, or can you guys hear her in the chat? Sorry, Erin, just want to make sure they can hear you.
Okay.
Can you guys still hear her good? All of a sudden, like, she went from clear to like muddy. Can someone just confirm that you can still hear Erin? Did anyone hear a change? Okay, I'll just assume it's me. As long as they can hear you, that's the main.
Yeah, definitely. So you can message me if you have any questions about these different ways to help. If you're wanting to take on a more active role, you can join Andrea's Angels. So Andrea's Angels is the volunteer group that Dad and I came up with. It's a group chat in Messenger, and it's comprised of just normal people like me that want to help. We also have graphic designers who use their skills to create posters and just anything of that nature. We have retired law enforcement, lawyers, pretty much anyone that wants to use their knowledge and skills to help Andrea are welcome. And you can also just pick someone, just a person that wants to help. So we have searches that you can participate in.
I'm so sorry, Erin. Did you change your positioning? You're holding the phone or something? Because there's like a robotic echo for everyone now. We can't really hear you that good all of a sudden.
Oh, sorry. Let me see.
Okay. So yeah, something. I just want to make sure they can hear you. Is all.
Is it better now?
Say something.
Yeah. So Andrea's Angels.
Better.
Okay. Let me see. Sometimes if I turn my mic on and off, I've noticed that that's made it better. Let me.
Okay.
All right. Is that better?
It's a tiny echo, but it seems I can still hear you, so that's all that's important. Okay. Yeah, I don't know what happened just a minute ago. But...
It's okay.
Oh, that's good. Now you sound good. Yeah.
Okay, I'll try to keep it like this in case it's the position. But yeah, you can join Andrea's Angels group chat. We share missing posts, write podcasters, TV shows. Really anything that you come up with that you think could help, just share it with us. Just message me and I'll add you to that group. We have pages that you can follow. There's Where's Andrea Knabel on Facebook. I also use TikTok. So yeah, just find me on any social media and let me know what you're interested in. Or you can click on the links that are attached to this video, like you said.
Yeah, all those links are there, guys. Just expand the description. You'll see them. It's kind of going back and forth, Erin, so I don't know if it's the positioning of the phone. But yeah, it's okay, though, because we're kind of wrapping up here also. But so you're in Louisville, Kentucky. Is there anywhere else? Like, does she have friends elsewhere? Just obviously people in Louisville, Kentucky are going to keep an eye out. Now I'll make sure to show a picture again. Is there anywhere else that it's likely she could have went?
We have received some very detailed human trafficking leads. So if that's what has happened, it's possible that she could be anywhere. The police do believe that if she's still with us and she's still living, that she's not in town, just because of the lengths we've gone to raise awareness for her locally. They think that it's not possible for her to be here and not be recognized. So that's why it's just very, very crucial that she is known across the world until we get this figured out. And I would say to everybody that just remember, this is someone who would look for you if you went missing without even knowing who you are. Andrea helps strangers that were missing. So
And
it's
not only would
she
she, but she did look for people. So
yeah, she raised awareness, hung posters, and would do ground searches. And that's, I don't know if anyone's participated in a search before, but it's not for the weak people. That's something, it's you go out in the elements, whether it's the middle of wintertime or summertime, it's not easy. So I've learned that just from all the searches I've done for Andrea. I've been out in the sun for 12 hours at a time, and so that's something that Andrea would do for someone that she had never even met. And not only that, but she was a great mother, a sister, and really everybody deserves to be found. And I feel like through this, I've really learned a lot about what people go through with missing loved ones, and I'm wanting to use the following that I've drawn in to also help other people the same way Andrea did. And we actually, I know that there's at least one person that we found because of this. I ask my volunteers, like I have, they're basically my friends now, because if you're not helping me, I don't know. It's hard for me to really consider someone a friend if they just completely don't do anything through all this crisis. But anyways, so my friends that create missing posters, like if someone reaches out to me and asks for help, I'll have them create missing posters for their missing loved one. And we did find a missing teenager through this. I've joined just about every group in Louisville for sharing my sister's missing poster. So when someone
yeah.
comes to me and asks for help, I'll blast their poster everywhere. Like I'll share it like 75 times usually is the limit. I know all the limits on how often you can share on Facebook before you get marked. It'll eventually not let you share anymore. So
Yeah,
I do
I used
that
to
for
go through it
people.
every single day.
And yeah, yeah. And the way I look at it is like, I don't care if people are tired of seeing it or not. Um, it's probably, it's something that really makes a difference in the world. And I feel like out of all the silly things that we share every day, like how hard is it to share one meaningful thing every a day? It shouldn't be a big deal to me. So anyways, we're wanting to help other people through this tragedy, just because it's, I see a great need out there. So I'm hoping to also help other people through this.
Absolutely, and congratulations on helping find that teenager. And it's amazing, in a way, Andrea is still helping find the missing, even now through that.
Yeah, I
So
feel like, yeah, definitely, regardless of what has happened, I feel like she's always going to live on, just because I'm carrying on her legacy and what she cared about. And I always have her memories that are still with me no matter what. And Terry's asking, how do I feel about my little sisters and her fiance's possible involvement? The way I feel about it, um, my entire life, everything inside of me says that, like, that's absolutely insane and ridiculous. And my little sister and my family, I trust them with my own life. So of course I would trust them with Andrea's life. That's how my feelings are. But I feel like it would be foolish of me to go all over the world looking for my sister and not focus on where she was last. So obviously I wasn't there, so I don't know what happened. Everything has to be looked at. That's the most I can really say. Logically and with my heart, I would say never in a million years. But we have to keep everything on the table until we know where she is.
absolutely. So what I'm going to do, typically, I mean, I'm not on the screen, so you're kind of already zoomed in on right now. You can probably see yourself, but I'm going to mute myself. And I think you've watched the show, so we typically do this at the end. Do you want to give a message directly to Andrea, if she
Yes.
happens to come across this, or somebody brings it to her attention? I'll go ahead and mute myself if you'd like to speak directly to her.
Yes. I'd say, Andrea, I love you so much, and whatever's you're going through, I want to be there for you and help you. I'll do whatever it takes. I still have the same number. I live at the same place. My door's always open. And if you chose to leave and you're feeling bad about coming back, please don't. We're not mad at you. We love you so much, and we welcome you back with open arms. And if you're somehow being held against your will, I want you to know, please just stay strong and that we're fighting for you. Don't ever give up. And we're here for you in every way we can be.
Yeah, and Andrea, if you're listening, just please, like she says, everything is forgivable, no matter what.
Yes.
Nobody should ever be judged. If I was judged on the worst thing I ever did, people probably, you know what I mean? All of us, we've all had our good days and our bad days. So,
Yeah, I'd say it's worth it. Everything that I've done for the past 3 years is worth it, and there would be nothing but happiness if she came back. Every day I hope that she just walks in through this door, and then everything would be okay.
for anybody listening, if you have any information, Erin's contact information is in the links, just by expanding the description, as well as all the groups. And if you're interested in the t-shirts, as well as her personal Facebook page, which I'm assuming is the best place to contact you, Erin, if they have any info.
Yeah, Facebook is the main social media that I'm most responsive on.
On your personal page or on the group page?
Yeah, well, I see all of them, but I prefer
Okay.
on Erin Knabel. That's the quickest way.
Okay. And thank you to everybody who joined in today. Michelle Evans recommends that you start a YouTube channel to help out. You know, I guess that would be a good idea. Hopefully, hopefully she's back before you had to do that. But that's something you could consider, is to start a YouTube channel along with the groups. That always helps.
Yeah, that is a good idea. Thank you.
No problem. And lastly, we'll give one more question. And Voice for the Voiceless says, Erin, could you use another dog team? I'm assuming maybe she has a connection or something.
Yeah, definitely. If you could please message me about that, I'm interested for sure. We just want to do everything possible until she's back here. Thank you so much for offering that.
Thank you, Voice for the Voiceless. Please contact Erin through the link, as we said. Just expand the description. Thank you to everyone who joined us. Erin, please let me know if there's anything else I can do. I'm so sorry I couldn't be on screen with you today.
It's okay.
Yeah, but just you have all my contact info, of course, and just let me know of any updates. If you ever want to do a second show, if you think it will be beneficial, if more information comes up, I'm always here for you. Okay.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thanks everybody for joining us and watching. I appreciate that.
All right. Thank you, Erin. Have a great night, and I'll talk to you soon.
All right. You too. Bye.
Thank you, sweetie. Bye-bye. Thanks, guys. I really appreciate you so much for joining in. Again, this is Jason Hebert live. Typically, I would be on the screen, so I apologize for that. Just having technical issues. Please click the like button and subscribe. It helps. The more likes a video has, the more YouTube sends it out for more people to watch, because it tells YouTube people that are interacting with this video, they enjoy it. So every time you hit that like button, you're helping more people watch this video. So you're helping Andrea or whoever the subject of the video is. It's very, very important. Once this video goes up, leaving a comment under it also does that. The way YouTube judges whether a video is successful or not is by interaction, which are likes and comments. So any questions that you have, advice, if you've heard a rumor, whatever it is, the most important thing is that you send it directly to Erin or Mike or any of the family. But it also helps to put it on the video, just to kind of help raise awareness and get the video seen by more people. So I love you guys. Thank you so much. As of right now, the next video that I have scheduled is a week from tomorrow, but I'm going to try to get to one before that. But I am back full time, and my health is good. Everything's good. So thank you guys. I love you all. Have a great night, and please help bring Andrea home. Please contact Erin and the family, and via the groups and the personal page if you have any info. Have a great night. Thank you for joining us here at Jason Hebert Live. I love you all. Take care.